can do this walking in. I don't know why I'd walk in for that. There's no reason to walk in.
I'm walking here.
Runes are by far the most important and also complex part of Summoner's War. That's why my goal today is to make them a little bit more approachable for you. Especially because it's been a couple years since we've had a proper guide for them on the channel. So welcome to the 2024 Beginner's Guide to Runes. Let's get the basics out of the way. Runes are equipable items that can be put onto a monster of your choice to give you increased stats or even set effects. As an example, Rage runes will increase your crit damage by 40%, while a set of Revenge runes will give you a 15% chance to counterattack. Each rune you find will correspond to a number on the rune hexagram, so that means 1 through 6. And when you equip the requisite number of runes on a single monster, you'll activate the set bonus. Rune sets exist as either what's called a main set or an offset. A main set requires 4 runes to activate the set bonus, while an offset only requires 2. An example of a main set would be Violent, in order to get a 22% chance to gain an extra turn. While an example of an offset would be that very same Revenge rune that we talked about earlier in the episode. And in the case of the sets that only require 2, you can actually stack those effects. So for Nemesis, Will, and Revenge, etc., you can get additional instances of those abilities. There's also an edge case here. Intangible runes act as a wild card. They can complete any set, but you can only use one. So if you're short one Violent rune, you can throw in an intangible and it will complete the set, thus acquiring you the set bonus. So that's what runes are. Now let's talk about how you get them. The runes that you really want drop from the Kairos dungeons. That means giants, dragons, necro, and the spiritual realm. You can also get what's called ancient runes from the dimension hole. These are essentially runes that just have increased ranges for substats. Don't get too wrapped up in that just yet. We'll talk about substats in a little bit. While farming, you'll get runes of varying star ratings, at least until you enter the Abyss floors. And that's where only the juiciest runes drop, and they're only 6-star quality. And if you're curious about where to find the sets that you're looking for, you can check the drop info tab in the corner of the dungeon, just to make sure that you're in the right place. Now we're going to talk about the anatomy of a rune. The main stat of each rune varies based on the slot. So for instance, slots 1, 3, and 5 will always be attack, defense, and HP respectively. The 2, 4, and 6 slots differ because they can also feature percentages as their main stat, which is way better. You're going to want to use those pretty much every time. Also, it should be noted that speed is the only stat that won't appear as a percentage on a single rune, and it's a very important stat, arguably the most important. So don't discount speed just because you see it as a flat stat on a rune. So one more time just to make everything super clear, slots 1, 3, and 5 will always be flat. Slots 2, 4, and 6 can feature percentages, and those are going to be the best options most of the time. Looking below the main stat, you'll see substats. These are what's going to make your rune really shine. One of them will be upgraded at random on power-up levels 3, 6, 9, and 12. The difference between rarities on a rune is how many substats are available from the beginning. The higher the rarity, the more opportunities to roll multiple times into a single stat. So you could get way better results from a legendary rune than you could from, say, a rare rune. The max number of upgradable substats on a rune is 4. If you're rolling a rune that's at a lower rarity, for instance, let's use a rare rune for example, it's going to upgrade a stat at numbers 3 and 6 in the power-up level, but then after that, on 9 and 12, it's instead going to add a substat. But if this were a legendary rune, it's instead going to try to level up one of the existing substats. Runes can be powered up all the way to plus 15, and that last power-up increases the main stat by 20%. It's very generous. Thank you. And hey, selling runes in bulk just got way easier too. The sell options have been expanded to have sell exclusion settings. It can be a little intimidating at first, but I have a video on the channel that I'll link right here that makes it a little bit easier to understand. And if you have any questions about runes or anything else, leave it in a comment down below and I'll try my best to answer it. Or you can always catch me on stream. We stream on Wednesdays and Fridays. See y'all next time. Thanks for watching.